Hello everyone, welcome back to Discovering Dawson's Creek here on its wonderful podcast. Although we're a bit weird today, I think, with the episodes, Jeannine. And this first episode is just them trying something different and strange, and does it really work? I'm not too sure if it really works. It feels like something similar to what we get, to be honest, every now and again in diving into Doctor Who, where it's kind of a cast light episode and everybody else is going off doing something else, and we just decide, we have to make an episode anyway. So we'll just have one person from our regular cast in this episode and find a way of making a full episode around one particular quite dark thing that ends up happening. It just feels a bit unnecessary to me, but we'll get into that. And then in the second episode today, we've kind of just got as a main storyline, almost a quick cut of a storyline that has been slowly
barely started
for the entire season, and as you rightly say, has barely just started in its most impactful format. So I'm not quite sure what's going on in these couple of episodes today, Jeannine. It feels like we've had solid, interesting things for the last few times here on Discovering Dawson's Creek, but I'm not so sure about today. I feel like this is the awkward point in a season of television. This is episode 15 and 16 of the 23 episode season, of course. So you would expect now to maybe have the breadcrumbs of the final sort of push story arc of the season.
Yeah.
But this
starting
feels
up
like
now.
Filler to me, and not even good filler necessarily.
Or fun filler.
Or fun filler. I can certainly understand our first episode today, episode 15 of season 5 of Dawson's Creek, Downtown Crossing. Definitely feels purposely like a filler episode, and at least they're doing something different and doing something that speaks to the idea of the filler episode. We must try a bit of something unique, and whether it works or not is beside the point in that sense, really. They're doing it for that purpose. But to bring the main story back and everybody else back into it, obviously, for the second episode today, the 16th episode, only to kind of just either close everything too quickly and too tightly, and then not really do much of anything else with anything else. I mean, maybe there's a bit of decent Pacey stuff in that second episode.
I mean,
not much else going on in my opinion today.
Yes, and then we're also kind of stirring up a bit of conflict as well with our two new relationships that are developing. They can't be happy. We have to shake it up yet again with Dawson and Jen, and with this budding relationship starting with Audrey and Pacey to kind of shake it up a little bit. So but I mean, we do get a kind of nod and callback to a Morgan favorite character, so I thought you'd at least appreciate that.
We do, which is nice to hear, but also it's done in the way of, let's try and relate to this one criminal character by speaking about the one criminal character we know, isn't it? And I'm thinking, come on. There's more to Mike Potter than just being a drug lord. He wasn't a drug lord. That's a bit too extreme.
No, a little too ambitious for him. But
a little too ambitious.
Yes. Well, our friend Eric Monroe says he does come back, and I don't quite remember what that looks like. So
I'm fascinated.
Yeah. So I'm like, when did
we obviously trust anything Eric Monroe does say about Dawson's Creek as well, because if there's one person that can rival your love of Dawson's Creek, it is, of course, Eric Monroe. But yes, maybe we'll just crack on straight into it today, Jeannine. Get the binders out for episode 15, Downtown Crossing, also known as Joey Gets Mugged, oh dear.
Yes, Downtown Crossing, episode 15, aired February 13th, 2002. Joey is held up and forced to clean out her bank account by a street mugger who was accidentally run over by a car just after mugging Joey. The merciful girl from Cape Side stands by her aggressor, checking up on him and trying to get an ambulance and get him to the hospital after seeing the similarities between him and her own father. When the cops and paramedics arrive, Joey faints and is taken to the hospital. After recovering, she accidentally meets the mugger's estranged wife and daughter. Joey stands by her dying mugger as she tries to learn more about her own father. After his death, she makes a choice of sparing the guy's little daughter's feelings by telling her he jumped in front of the car to save her life.
Yes. Which sounds really interesting, right? Doesn't it? That sounds like such an interesting sort of concept. I mean, yeah, let's have an introspective episode for Joey specifically. There's nobody else in this episode from our main cast other than Katie Holmes. I mean, the episode doesn't even have a regular Dawson's Creek title sequence, which I think is the only episode we've had so far that doesn't have that. In a 5-season run so far.
Yeah, I want to say
there being another time. I don't recall there being. Maybe there has been.
I want to say I'm wondering if the Mitch, the post Mitch, like the death Mitch episode, like had a quiet opening or something. I feel like I don't know if I'm remembering right.
I mean, definitely had a quiet end. Where Mitch did get in the car crash, and I don't quite remember actually what Mitch's funeral episode was, and that was obviously earlier this season. So I don't remember if it did have
the opening, quiet opening or something. Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but yeah, it's a different opening, and it's even playing like a piano kind of sounding version of "I Don't Want to Wait." But yeah, this is wholly focused on Joey. It's her leaving, the filming set and heading back to Professor Wilder. So she's walking in through the town, and she gets stopped by this mugger, but he's kind of trying to be nice and charming and, be a bit conversational with her. Before asking her for some money, and she tells him she doesn't have any. She's kind of trying to avoid him, get out of his way, but he won't stop following her, won't stop kind of trying to chat her up. He explains like he's not trying to come at her in that way, like in a flirtatious way. He's not trying to like date her or anything. Until she keeps telling him no. And then he reveals that he is holding her up, and he's trying to like be kind of cute about it. And then he does
be a very casual mugger.
Yes, and very conversational, and chatty, and kind of word play, and obviously Joey, very headstrong character, kind of standing her ground, throwing barbs right back at him, kind of holding her own to the point where he's very like impressed by her. But then it gets to the point where he's kind of done with his little spiel. She's not receptive to it. So then he shows that he has a gun and forces her to an ATM to get her money. He takes her phone as well. She tries to lie and say she doesn't have a phone. He ultimately takes it from her. And yeah, she, only has like $50 in her account, but he's like, "Oh, what about your savings?" So he goes into her savings, sees she has 500 something bucks in there, makes her clean it out, and is under this assumption that she, "Daddy will transfer you, 500 more in the morning," not realizing, what Joey's circumstances look like. So just an interesting kind of element that like he immediately thinks, "Oh, she goes to Worthington, she must be some rich girl."
Yeah.
And then, of course, us watching know that's like not even the case. So yeah, we know how hard this is for Joey to have him see that she has this, amount of money, and it just takes it all from her. And then he has the nerve to ask her a question about like dating, like, "Oh, if you were mad at a guy, what could he do to like get in your good graces? Like what kind of gift should he get her?" And
And at this
you
point,
know.
we're all saying, "Hold on a minute. You're a thief. You're mugging her. Why are we
Yeah,
sat
asking
here
for
having
advice, chitty chat
asking for
time,
advice, having this conversation? Why are we spending any great
indulging
length of
all of
time
this. And there was
indulging
even a
all of this?" Exactly.
yeah, so there's even a point where she does get away from him, like she's able to like kick him or knee him or something and run away, but he ultimately gets the upper hand on her. And so then ultimately he steals her coat to give as a gift to his wife. And she's like shocked that he even does have a wife. So
Yeah.
she's pissed now. He has all her money, he has her coat, he has her phone, and he leaves. And so now she has to walk back to the dorms in the cold. No coat. It's snowing. Um, and we're just like, oh, this guy's an asshole. And even though he's trying to be all cute and charismatic, no, we're just like so pissed for Joey because this man is terrible.
The thing
Um,
is
and
the thing is with this whole idea, with this whole
yeah.
episode, I really do think we need to spend a little bit more time talking about this as the concept of it, because it is genuinely quite interesting.
Mhm.
If there was previous in Dawson's Creek of this happening, and you would have a single character focused episode that does get a bit more introspective, does allow that
Yeah.
single character to think on something hard that has happened in their life in the past. This is what we're getting for Joey in this. We
Yeah.
see a man who's ultimately got a family but is struggling, doesn't know what path to go down, chooses this criminal path, chooses this wrong path,
Yeah.
and Joey recognizing elements of her own father in that. I think Mike Potter is a little bit more pleasant a man than this guy
Yeah.
is, but it's a
Yeah.
similar sort of thing. And it does allow Joey to think on her father. The problem I have with this is there is no previous for this happening in Dawson's Creek. This sort of idea, this philosophy, this
Mhm.
concept comes out of absolutely nowhere, right in the
Yeah.
middle of a storyline that should have continued to be built up, is then gone back to in the next episode to then not get built up properly. And I'm just there thinking, what are the writers of Dawson's Creek actually thinking about
Yeah.
at this particular point? Because what a very interesting concept it is, but why just lob it in there and smack you in the face with it with no build up at all, with no previous at all, with no
Yeah.
Joey's not been thinking about her
About her
father even
father.
a little bit for
Yes.
years. So
And it could be
where does it all come from all of a sudden? It just took me aback, and I'm not sure if this is where my mind is at with it. This is why it's not, I suppose it's confusion isn't the right word, but it's just this sort of unsureness of, well, it's a good idea, but
Mhm.
why is it there? This isn't the
Yes.
show. This isn't like the right show. It's not what we've been doing. And
Yeah, and I mean,
if
they
you
could
want to
have.
do a bold swing, go and do a bold swing. Sure, that's fine. You can go
Mhm.
and do a bold swing. But midway through season 5, don't do a
Where's this
bold
coming from?
swing. You know,
Yeah, and I
midway
mean,
through
they
season
could have.
5, just do what you've been doing.
Yeah, and they could have worked up to this in an interesting way and connected it to maybe her Professor Wilder storyline. Maybe she gets some writing
Yeah,
assignment, like she's gotten some summons to like go, her dad asking her to come see him in jail, or she gets a phone
sure.
call from him or something, or Bessie calls her and says we got a letter from dad or something saying that he's
Yeah,
getting out soon and he wants
we
to
get
know,
none of it.
whatever. Yes, so maybe we get something like that. Joey gets some assignment for Wilder's class. She ends up writing about her father. And then when they are alone and, with the night that they kissed, maybe her kind of confiding in him about how she feels about hearing from her father after all this time and him
Yeah,
reading her story or whatever she wrote. that's what kind of maybe brings them together. So she's already dealing with these kind of complicated relationships, and maybe something about daddy issues is like,
Well, exactly. He's an
could
older
play
man,
into
so there could be
exactly.
that.
Exactly. So there's all of these layers that could have just simply a call from Bessie saying, "We got a letter from dad," and it's putting it in her mind. She gets a writing assignment. She writes about it. So at least there's like a simmering of like she's stewing on hearing from her father. He's in her thoughts. So that when this happens, it doesn't feel like it's out of nowhere. Um, because yeah, it would have been a simple fix to just kind of pepper that into what was already happening with Joey, so that when this comes up, it feels warranted. It feels like, okay, she's been kind of 2 episodes now, she's kind of been simmering on thoughts of her dad. So
Yeah.
this situation is coming at such a strange kismet kind of time for her to have this profound feeling about it. But the fact that she's treating the situation so reverently when we haven't really heard a peep about Mike Potter in ages, yeah,
Yeah.
it feels very out of nowhere.
And as a storyline, as a continuation, it does directly continue on from the last episode. It's not even treated, even though it wants to be treated as this sort of one-shot style, it doesn't even treat itself as a one-shot style, because it
Yeah.
does in fact link to what's just
To what
happened
we
in
just
the
saw.
previous episode.
Yeah, because the previous episode, she was with Wilder, she was gonna tell him it was over, she comes into his house, they end up kissing again. Dawson calls her to come help on the set. She leaves him, but plans to come back that night to presumably do more with Professor Wilder. She leaves, goes to the set, handles the situation, gives Audrey and Pacey her blessing, all of that, and is headed back to Wilder's, and that's where we meet her at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah. So it's just strange. It feels like it should be a special Dawson's Creek individual presentation rather than an actual
An
episode
actual
of the
episode
season.
of the show. Yeah, so, like, very interesting ideas, like, a nice kind of thought to think, "Oh, yeah, Mike Potter." It's interesting that she finds somebody she can kind of relate to and maybe impart, how a daughter would feel about a father like this, since we did
Yeah.
find out he has a daughter, and her maybe
Definitely. I
learning
mean, it's
something
quite
from him.
emotionally effective, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
When he does obviously get in that car accident, she ends up being, as I think the synopsis said, merciful and sitting with him, getting him an ambulance as well as the police, obviously, because he does warrant arresting as well.
yeah,
Um, but then to sit in the hospital and, unbeknownst to her, come across his young daughter and estranged, well, half estranged wife at this
yeah,
point, and to form a bond and a relationship with those two before knowing their connection to him
mhm,
and before anybody knows anybody's connection to anybody else.
mhm,
That's quite interesting. It's all very, very interesting. It's all
mhm.
genuinely emotionally effective. It's all really wonderfully introspective. It's just odd. It's just odd. It just doesn't make coherent sense for the season to be putting this in there.
Throwing this in
And
here.
I don't I don't know at the moment if that's a fair complaint. I think I might be being a bit harsh because I don't
No.
want to complain about this season. I don't
I mean,
want to
you
complain
should
about this
be able.
episode because I think things that are going on in this episode are interesting.
Interesting.
I just don't see
Yeah.
the point in putting it here.
Yeah, I mean, 2 things can be true. You can definitely appreciate the ideas, the callbacks to Joey's past, but also feel like this feels out of place. Like, 2 things can definitely be true in how you feel about this episode. Um, but yeah, like, she ultimately is now walking home, no coat, no money, no phone, and she ends up seeing him in the street, and he kind of smugly waves at her with all her things. And, as he's kind of smugly like, "Oh, thanks for the great night," kinda joking with her, a car comes and hits him, and he goes flying and ultimately bleeding, knocked out. She ends up getting her coat, the money's in the pocket, her phone is there, and she's about to call 911, call the police and ambulance, but he's, like, telling her, "No, don't do it," because obviously he knows he's gonna get arrested.
Yeah.
He pulls out the gun. Yes. Only for him to pull the trigger and it's not loaded. So he held her up with an unloaded gun, which just pisses her off even more. So you think like there might be a chance that like, she maybe doesn't call the police. She just calls an ambulance, but no, she still calls the police. She tells them what happened. So the police show up, an ambulance shows up. And she ultimately faints in the policeman's hands. And so that's how she ends up at the hospital too. When she wakes up, she is kind of trying to figure out what's going on. She asks about him. They say he's in surgery. And then she runs into a lost little girl. And she's talking to the little girl for a little bit and helps her find her mom. And as they kind of sit and talk for a little bit, she starts to kind of realize as she's talking that this is the wife and the daughter of this man. And she hears the little girl talk about her dad like he's her hero, like, oh, he takes me to the movies and he's the best and he does all these things with me. So Joey already kind of gets the knowledge of like how this little girl sees her dad. And she kind of sees herself in this little girl. So this is kind of the start of where her empathy for this man continues. And slowly through conversation, she knows who this woman and the daughter is, but she takes a little bit of talking before she says something to make the mom to make the wife realize who she is. She's like, oh, I think my husband is the one who mugged you.
And it's incredibly difficult for the wife to come to terms with that when Joey has been being so pleasant to them, so helpful to them.
And even advocating for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, saying you should go talk to him, you should go see him before it's too late and all of these things. Because I know, we can kind of flash back to Joey having regrets, like she didn't want to go see him. And then just one of the early lovely Pacey Joey moments, Pacey drives her down there. Isn't it Pacey, right? Who drives her down to the prison to speak to her father across the gate, in the fence. So yeah, she definitely, implores this woman to try to like just make peace, if not for her, for her daughter, because she doesn't know that he's a deadbeat. She doesn't know that he's a loser. But the wife is very much, no, I'm not going to put her through this. And then the mugger's asking for Joey when he comes out of surgery. So Joey goes to see them and they have this really interesting conversation where she kind of tells him, this is how I saw my father. I saw him as this hero, this great person. And I was gutted when I found out like he was cheating on my dying mother and all of these things. But I hold on to that person he always was to me before any of that kind of thing. And as she's kind of telling him, what he can do to be that for his daughter, he dies.
Yeah.
We just
I do always forget Mike Potter did cheat on his dying wife, which always sours my feelings towards Mike Potter whenever I do remember that, to be honest with you, because that is unforgivable, isn't it?
That's pretty brutal.
I can get past all the
drug stuff because he's doing it to try to provide. That's all he knows how to do to provide for his family. So okay, sure, terrible, but like, motivations are good. But
motivations are
wife is kind of terrible. But
there's no good motivation for cheating on your dying wife. Sorry, Mike. You're not getting away with that one.
Yeah.
At least the mugger doesn't do that, I suppose.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Oh, we don't know. I don't know. Maybe he has.
Maybe. So she goes out there and she just shakes her head to the wife, and the wife actually kind of breaks down a little bit. And, the daughter gets a sense of like what maybe has transpired between her father and Joey. And she asks her, did my dad do a bad thing to you? And Joey lies and she says, no, he actually saved my life. There was a car in the road and I didn't see it. And he pushed me out of the way and saved my life. Your daddy is a hero. and she like turns to her mom and says, "Oh, mommy, do you hear that? Daddy's a hero." Um, and she hugs her daughter and thanks Joey for the lie. And then we see
Quietly,
Joey like
silently, thanks, Joey.
yeah, yes. And then we see Joey sneak the $500 into the woman's coat.
Yes.
And
Which I mean
go.
is
So
that's a bit. I mean that's very. Is that the right thing to do at this point, Joey? Like, I know,
mm,
I understand. Okay, I get the idea of it, the concept
yeah,
of it. Again, I suppose it speaks to what the episode is. I get the concept of it, but why are we
yeah.
doing this? A little bit, sure, but your entire savings, you're only 19,
And you don't have
your
a job.
entire savings.
Yeah.
Don't
And
be
as
giving
far
your
as we know,
entire savings to this woman.
yeah. And as far as we know, she doesn't have a college job, right? Like,
No, I've never seen her do anything.
so exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. Weird episode. Like good in theory,
Very.
good concept, good kind of callback for this character. Everyone else got a nice little vacation, but just kind of a weird
They must have been
placement.
busy. They must
Yeah,
have been
right.
doing other things. What was it? What movies was everybody in around this time? When was this? Early
Yeah, it might have been
2002?
2002. Yeah. I'm like, no, Cruel
Or like when it
Intentions was like
aired, obviously.
99, 2000. I think Urban Legend was 99. And
Yeah,
like, when was the
nobody's in
Skulls?
movies at this point.
When was the
When was
Skulls?
the
Varsity
Skulls?
Blues. All of that I think was late 90s. So I
The
don't know that we
Skulls
were in
might have been early
2002 yet.
2000s, but I think that
2002.
would have been
Yeah.
filmed before
4. Yeah. Yeah.
this.
So I don't know.
What isn't Kerr Smith in Final Destination? When was that?
That's 2000, I believe.
So yeah, so there's no excuse for everybody else to not be here.
Just have a
Really.
break. Yeah, yeah. Like again, just related to the podcast Pod Meets World. When there's a light episode where a character's missing, they always just say, "Oh, they must have had finals." Like, because sometimes they were like would have classes in school on set, and so
Yes.
if if a actor like actually had like their finals they had to do, they would like give them a light load on an episode. Or even if
Yeah.
like Mr. Feeney wasn't in an episode, they would still just say, "Oh yeah, he must have had finals." So that was kind of their universal thing of saying, "Oh, this character's not in this episode, they must have had finals." So yeah,
Well,
all
anything could
all of
have.
our regulars must have had finals. So
Yeah, well, I suppose so. They must have been. Anything could have happened, I suppose. Or
yeah.
they're just trying to not pay them for an episode and save a bit of money. But do they really need to be doing this? Dawson's Creek at this
Yes.
point is a monumental show. So
Yes, and I think this is what makes Katie Holmes the one person to be in every single episode of the show. I wanna
I
say.
see.
Episode.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that does make sense. Actually, I'd forgotten about that idea, and I was
Yeah.
thinking, why is she the only person to appear in everyone? Is there like odd little bits here and there of
Yeah.
only certain people being in each things? But then Joey gets her own
There we go.
episode. It's weird, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, really, it should
Yeah.
be Joey's Creek because Joey's always been
Been
somewhat
far more
central to
interesting
everything going
than
on.
Dawson. Yes. Yeah.
I
But,
suppose certainly more generally speaking over the course of 4 and just over a half season of television, nearly 5 seasons of television, Joey has
yeah.
definitely been more dimensional than
Mhm.
Dawson has
Yeah.
over the course of that time. I think Dawson in the last couple of seasons has certainly grown into that. But
Yeah.
early Dawson was it was an unlikable character.
Oh,
It was an
yeah. Mhm.
unpleasant character.
Oh, yes.
It was all the title character was the least interesting one in the whole show.
Yeah.
For a time.
Privileged, so not self-aware. Yeah. Yeah. Lovesick,
Now that's no longer
obnoxious,
the case.
pretentious. Yeah. Yeah. He's grown a lot for sure.
An awful lot. But maybe it should have always been Joey's Creek if Katie Holmes is the only one to appear in every
Yeah.
single episode of Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, and she was the youngest, and she was the only one who, like, didn't really have a ton of credits before. Like, I think she was, like, plucked out of high school. Like, I think she was 18 or 19 when she got the show, and I think she had only done acting, like, at her school. Like, I don't think she had any credits. The rest of them all, I think, had some credits at least in movies.
Well,
So
Interesting, isn't it? Interesting.
Yeah.
I suppose next up, though, we're getting back into actual season
Yeah.
5 plots now. With
Yes,
a
and
nice title.
another nice, yes, episode title, In a Lonely Place, aired
Yes.
February 20th, 2002.
Funnily
Jen and
enough, of
Audrey
course, Dawson and Jen, Dawson and Jen go and watch In a Lonely Place.
Dawson and Joey.
Dawson and Joey go and watch In a Lonely Place, the actual movie.
Yes.
Gloria Graham, very good
Yes.
stuff. Nice, good noir.
Yes. Yes. Jen and Audrey are tempted to risk their new relationships with Dawson and Pacey after interviewing a couple of cute musicians. Meanwhile, Pacey's caught by surprise when he realizes Jack has taken him to a gay bar, and Dawson's curious upon seeing Joey's reaction when she catches Professor Wilder on a date.
Well, that's a nice little snappy synopsis. That's a better sort of synopsis, isn't it, than the paragraphs and essays we've been having of late.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff going on. Okay, I mean, to the point where Joey's seen Professor Wilder on a date, because Professor Wilder obviously cannot reasonably continue this nonsense with Joey. This is not right. We know this isn't right. Everybody's aware this isn't right. So is he well within his right to go on an adult date with an adult woman? Yes. Continue doing that, please, Professor Wilder. This is what you should be doing. Quite correct. Go and do that. So it's interesting. I don't mind it as a story point of Joey now getting a bit jealous of it because she sees Wilder out and about.
But then, and he ends things very abruptly. I think that's what bugs her as well. Yeah.
But and this is what I was exactly about to say. What we need to get from that then is more dimension into Wilder of trying to then play both sides of it and make it all a bit, very, very difficult, very, messing with the mind for Wilder. But we don't get that. What we get is the whole first half of the season 5 build-up of, this Wilder's an interesting sort of close character to Joey, isn't he? Oh, Joey's quite interested in Wilder. Oh, build up, build up, build up. Oh, God, Joey's really interested in Wilder. Oh, dear, she's planted a kiss on him. Wilder's pulled away and gone, oh, no, I don't think we should be doing this, but then gone back anyway again. So, where are we now when Wilder's just going, actually, no, Joey, no, we're not doing this anymore, and I'm going to go out on a date with why do it so abruptly? Why not have 2 or 3 episodes of Wilder going, I need to do this. I need to go and do, actual adult thing. This is wrong, Joey. This is wrong. And we have some contentious there. We don't even get enough contentious there. We got one scene of a bit of contentious last episode. What's going on?
Yes, I mean, I don't think this is the show's fault because I looked into this and I'm like, this feels really silly to start this thing and then already end it. And it turns out the actor who plays Professor Wilder, I think Ken Marino is his name, he had gotten another acting job that he took. So they had to wrap him up somehow. So presumably there was going to be more to this. It was going to be more of a storyline, but because the actor got another role, they had to kind of wrap this up. So how they end up kind of, yes, it is. So how they end up doing this is Joey goes to him to explain that she got mugged and that's why she didn't make it back to him. But he refuses to let her explain. He's like, I don't need to hear it. I don't need you to explain. I'm glad that you didn't because that was a sign basically that, you saved me from, making a big mistake. And so she's kind of like, so it's over just like that. And he's like, yeah. So he won't even let her say the reason, which is frustrating because she's kind of like, if he knew I got mugged, then he would know that it was something fairly big that kept me from going there. But he just wants to live under the presumption that she didn't go because she was, she knew it was wrong and she was saving them from making a big mistake. So that's kind of how he's wanting to play it. So Joey's kind of just
more depth from it. You know what?
Yes,
there is a way of doing it while Ken Marino isn't actually there. he has gone on to his other job. There is still a way of doing this storyline when it's just Joey in her thoughts about all this, because she can have
Yeah.
conversations with Audrey about this sort of thing.
Mhm.
She can have
Yeah.
conversations with other people about this whole Wilder situation, and go, I saw Wilder out on a date with somebody. It really messed me up. I then had this conversation. Okay, it's a bit more, telling us about something that happened rather
Yeah.
than showing us what happened.
Showing us,
But it
yeah.
at least elongates the story in a necessary way
It
a
doesn't
little
feel
bit
like a waste
longer
of time. Yeah.
than just going, "Oh God, we have to finish it now." So Wilder all of a sudden comes to his senses. It's a bit too
Yeah.
quick for him to all of a sudden come to his senses. I
Yeah,
mean, I think it's
exactly.
right that he does come to his senses, but
Yeah, but it
have a bit of
feels very
trouble.
again, it feels very rushed, and yes, presumably down to this actor getting a new role, but I think they could have found a more streamlined way to handle this without it feeling like whiplash. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, she ends up and everyone like, we try to play into what happened the last episode. Everyone's kind of feeling this guilt for Joey, getting mugged. So everyone's kind of, babysitting her. Dawson's coming over to her dorm to watch her movies, you know, um he doesn't want her walking alone. They're kind of taking turns, like taking her out and just checking in with her and all these things. Which plays into Pacey and Audrey's storyline because Joey tried to call Audrey, but Audrey was, having sex with Pacey in his car, so she didn't get the message.
yes,
So she feels like because she was with Pacey, bad things happened to Joey and it's all her fault. Kind of it's karma. She's kind of reading into it. Pacey also didn't call her right away, I think right after they had sex.
yeah.
So that also was not a good like omen for things in Audrey's mind. But
I mean,
yeah,
even Jack
everybody is
berates him for this, and
yes,
Jack's like, "Oh,
right?
you didn't call it. That's
Call
not
her.
very nice, Pacey." He's like, "I know, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to not call it. It's all
Yes.
fine."
Yeah. Yes. So everyone's been kind of, babysitting Joey a little bit. So um Jen is supposed to go with Dawson to this screening of In a Lonely Place. And
Yes.
she was like, "Oh no, the radio station wants me to interview this band, so I can't go." Or no, I think is Dawson? I can't remember if it was the other way around. If Dawson was supposed to go to the concert with her, or if she was supposed to go to the movie with him. I can't remember. But I think they get their signals crossed, and
Yeah.
I think Dawson's supposed to go to the concert with her. That's what it is. But he had made these plans to go with Joey to this movie. So Joey goes with him to the movie, and so she invites Audrey to go with her to the concert. And they meet the cute musicians, and yes, then we'll get into that. But at this movie in the lobby, Joey sees Professor Wilder with this older woman who had kind of interrupted their conversation when it was kind of like, ending things, and then this woman knocks on
Yeah.
the door and walks in. Um,
We say
and
older woman, age
May his
appropriate
age,
for
age
Professor Wilder.
appropriate woman, yes. So then she ends up seeing them together at the movie, and she has this very kind of obvious reaction, and Dawson's like, "Do you wanna go say hi?" She's like, "No, no, no, it's fine, it's fine." And she
I do
just
like
seems kind of like
how
taken aback, but Dawson very observant, like,
yes.
You're kinda giving a lot of reaction here, Joey." Yeah,
Like, surely this would have just been, "Oh, interesting. My professor's here. That's cool." But
yeah,
Joey's like, oh, panic, stress. What's going on?
yeah,
Dawson doesn't know
yeah,
what's going on, obviously, because he's been far too interested in what him himself is doing, and rightfully so. Joey's not divulging all the Wilder information to Dawson necessarily. She's not divulging all the Wilder information to everybody out there,
yeah,
is she? Nor should she be.
yeah.
Um, but I do always find it interesting how whenever there's a screening of an old movie in Dawson's Creek, every character seems to go to the screening.
Yes,
It's just like,
and
oh,
nobody
they're all
wants to
they're
pay
always
it
all waiting.
and nobody wants to pay attention to the actually good movie. It's
No,
like, I think
they're
it
always
it
all
was the last
waiting for, ooh,
show,
the next old
and it was
Hollywood movie to come out at the Cape Side Cinerama Dome or whatever it was called. or
the
this
Rialto.
movie theater in Boston, sorry, I don't know what it was called, the Rialto in Cape Side, or
Yes.
this whatever cinema this is in
Yeah.
Boston, and everybody's always going, how is it that you keep running into the people that you obviously know very well at random singular screenings of
Yes,
old
because
movies?
at the
And
Rialto, when they go go to the movie, it was Dawson and Joey's first date, and Jen shows up there and, like,
yeah,
kind of bombards their date. I also think it's the same night that is it the same night that, like oh, no. That must have been another kind of theater night when Pacey goes there and, Tamara's there, and the fight happens, and he gets punched. So, like,
very
with
early
some
on,
drama
yes.
at the theater because that was season 1. But
Maybe just
yeah, of course.
everybody in Dawson's Creek just
Just
really likes old movies, which is obviously a good thing.
yes. So nobody's watching The Last Picture Show because drama ensues, and then
Yeah.
nobody's watching In a Lonely Place because drama ensues. So Professor Wilder leaves like she's like, "Oh, they're probably just friends," and she's like analyzing the whole situation and keeps looking over there, and Dawson's like, "You good? Like, you can go over there and say hi if you want." She's like, "Oh, no, 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 no." So he's clocking this weird vibe, and I think she ends up telling him the truth that, like, they kind of had a thing, and he's like, "Whoa," like, he's very kind of,
A
taken
thing?
aback, a little bit impressed. Yeah.
A little bit
So then she
impressed.
sees
He is.
yes. So I like that they've hit this kind of energy back in their relationship. So she sees Wilder leave and go to the lobby, so she goes out to the lobby, and they kind of talk things out. Um,
Not that that
and
goes anywhere.
no, like, nothing really comes of it. It's just kind of more of the same of why it shouldn't happen,
We all
and
know it shouldn't
ultimately
happen. That's not the
yes,
point.
but yes, and he kind of says this is a woman who is his like he's like, "I saw you when you came in. Is that guy your friend?" And he kind of says it in a way that maybe alludes to a little bit of jealousy.
He does a bit, yeah. It's like, you have no
Yes,
right to be saying this, Wilder. Like, what are you talking about? Who's
exactly, and so he
who's this?
confesses,
Who's this
"Woman you're
boy?
with."
Now, hold on a
Yeah,
minute. You're 15
with
years older than her,
yeah,
at
and
least.
so, yeah, so he says, "This is somebody who's my friend that we do occasionally, like, go out and whatever." So, yeah, they ultimately just kind of once again agree to not do this whole thing and part ways respectfully, and that's kind of the end of it. Um,
No more Wilder. We won't be seeing him again, will we?
no, I don't think so. Whatever job Ken Marino got in 2002 must have been real good for him, I assume.
Just a silly end to the character, a
Yeah.
silly, abrupt end to the character, unfortunately.
Yeah, yes, which is just weird. So, yeah, we jump to this concert, Jen and Audrey are having a good time, cute boys. They kind of branch off and kind of each have a guy, and one of them is very aggressively hitting on Jen, but she is kind of squirrely when she is asked if she has a boyfriend, like, it's taken her a minute to say, "Yes, I have a
Yes.
boyfriend." So what is
Why
that
is
about?
this? I don't know
What is
why
that about, Jen?
every other episode, I feel like every single time we're on
We
a
have to.
Discovering Dawson's Creek,
Yeah,
well, every single time we're on a Discovering Dawson's Creek, obviously we talk about 2 episodes. So,
yeah.
but every single time on a Discovering Dawson's Creek, there's always some sort of alternating issue with Jen and Dawson's relationship. Either inexplicably, as it was last time, Jen is now too happy in her relationship with Dawson for
Yeah,
any other
that's the
aspect of her life
problem.
to go properly. And
Yeah.
that's somehow a problem. The radio show is now failing because Jen's too chipper. What? It didn't make sense last time. It doesn't make sense now.
Yeah.
Or we get Jen going, yeah. Do I have
Cute
a
boy.
boyfriend? Is
Yeah.
Dawson actually my boyfriend? I suppose I have to say that Dawson is my boyfriend, but also look at this boy in front of me. I really want this boy in front of me. Oh, for
We're
God's
having
sake,
deep
sort your
we're
life
having
out.
really deep, interesting conversation. Yeah, yeah.
We can have
So
a
she
deep,
ultimately
interesting conversation with Dawson. Where does it come from with the back and forth, back and forth, back and forth of it all again? I can't be doing
yeah.
with it. Why? Just stay in
She took it
one
off the
frame of
pot.
mind for any length of
Yes.
time. It's
Exactly.
it's insane to me. The we can't be this wishy-washy as people, Jen. We can't be doing it. I've just
Yeah.
solidify oneself.
Yeah. So, yeah, it takes her, quite a bit to admit to it, but she ultimately does admit to this guy that she does have a boyfriend. So, yeah. And then Audrey, she ends up talking to the other guy, but he's not interested because he has a girlfriend that he really likes. And so he ends up giving her advice about Pacey because
Yeah,
she's made this big old deal, making all of these excuses why she shouldn't be with Pacey, even though she has Joey's blessing. And so she's beating herself up about it. And so the guy's
I'm
telling her, like,
definitely
go through
more
all the reasons.
involved at this point.
Yes, and so the guy's like, "Come on, I've heard them all. Tell me all the reasons why you think this is not a good match." And then all her reasons are really stupid, and he's like, "I think this is a good match. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, just let yourself, enjoy this and be happy or whatever." So, yeah, they end up
Audrey's
kind of
not gonna
having
be
a
good at
good
doing that, though, is she? This is the thing.
no,
Audrey's not going to be good at allowing herself any sort of
happiness.
seriousness because
Yeah,
has had, a troubled, pressurized upbringing with her horrible,
yeah,
terrible mother,
yeah,
who is constantly berating her. Audrey is fairly low on self-esteem, generally speaking, even though she is fully extroverted.
yeah.
But this is why. This is what it has become in her
Manifests in
mind. This is
yes,
what it's manifested into. Definitely.
yes,
Audrey needs to have Audrey needs to feel as though she has power over any intimate relationship she may
yeah,
have. So when it's actually genuine, and one must be vulnerable in actually genuine relationships, this
yeah.
doesn't compute well with Audrey at all. Which is exactly where
Yeah,
this is all coming from. She's starting to
yeah,
panic
yeah,
because she realizes Pacey is actually really good for her. And oh dear, I have to change my entire self in order for this to happen. And it's a bit stressful. And that's where it all comes from. And there's a nice
yeah.
conversation that she has with this one, musician guy.
Bad guy. Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
because he, yes, has his girlfriend from North Carolina
Home or
or
whatever.
wherever it is.
Yes. Yeah, so she ultimately kind of comes to the realization that, yeah, this could be a good thing with Pacey, so stop kind of making excuses for it not to work.
And you know what? It
Um,
will be a good thing with Pacey, but then Pacey's not being phenomenal about it either, is he? Not calling her up and having to tell, Jack's
yes.
having to tell him off.
Yes. So, yeah, when he goes to her window to try to, like, make peace with her, and he's like, "Oh," he thinks they're getting ready for the concert, and he's throwing rocks at her window, and Jack comes out, he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Aren't they up there, like, pimping?" And he's like, "You mean primping?" Like, this whole exchange is just funny. Like, made me miss, like, seeing these 2 characters together.
Very
Or
rarely we see
really
Jack and
seeing do we
Pacey.
see them interact? Yes. So, I was, like, a fun interaction with these characters I like. So, they've already gone to the concert. He's missed his opportunity. So Jack's like, well, let's just go to a bar. So Jack takes him to a bar. And Pacey slowly realizes there's no women in this bar and realizes it's a gay bar. And he's like, wow, it doesn't seem like your typical or what I would expect a gay bar. And he's like, Jack's like, that's why I like, because Jack is very much like, I'm not playing into gay stereotypes. I am who I am. There's not just one type of way to be gay kind
Yeah.
of thing, as Jack's has been Jack's like whole mentality.
What do you want from
Um,
the gay bar, Pacey? What do you want for it to look like a gay bar? Pride flags everywhere and it's raining men playing.
Yes. Right, exactly. Men in mesh neon tops and
Men,
things. Yeah,
yes.
no. Yes.
Everybody waving their
Um,
arms about in a flamboyant fashion.
yes, with big, crucifix earrings and, on one side and all this. No, I'm sorry.
Pink hair.
Um, yes, but, it's just frustrating because Jack is over here telling Pacey that he's not hot, and I'm just like, "Jack, you have bad taste 'cause Pacey is very hot." Um and so Jack goes to the restroom and Pacey's kind of like trying to just be like, oh yeah, I'll be fine on my own, no worries, I'm not stressed or whatever. And then when Jack comes out, he sees Pacey deep in conversation with somebody talking about different food and stuff. And when Jack pulls him away, he's like, oh, he's like this critic. I'm trying to get him to come to the restaurant to give us a good review. And he's like, that guy doesn't care about no restaurant or review. He's literally trying to pick you up. And he's like, no, like, I think it's beyond that. I think he really wants to come to the restaurant. He's like, no, he's literally just trying to get your number. Like, the face is like, what? And then for a minute, he's like, oh, like he's kind of impressed with himself. And I think this is where Jack tells him he's not that hot. And I'm just like, shut up, Jack. He's so hot.
No, I think one should always be feel complimented when hit on, as it were, if no matter what situation you're in, when you can go and say sorry, either taken or sorry, not into that. Not going any further. Sorry about that, but thank you very much for being so nice.
Yeah, for the compliment. Yeah, exactly. So kind of funny there that so Jack's like, okay, you gotta go tell him. Let's go tell him you're straight. And before Pacey can even tell him, he just assumes him and Jack are in a relationship, and that's why he is kind of blowing him off. And so they just
which would be an interesting old relationship to eventually happen.
I mean, considering you dated his sister,
yes, imagine if that ended up being the end.
Yes, right.
Pacey actually realized all this time he was actually gay. It wouldn't make sense. I wouldn't like that to happen because it would feel absolutely unnecessary out of nowhere.
mean, even Jack,
I would rather also Pacey be the old.
Jack's gayness was already kind of out of nowhere. So, because like he spent the whole season pursuing Joey. Like he's been a whole season pursuing Joey just to be like, oh yeah, I'm gay. So
the thing is, it was done early enough, though. It was done early enough to make it understandable, I think.
Yes.
So I didn't mind that. If it was done when they got to college, I'd have been like, where's this
really?
come from?
That's a little late. It's a little late. But so it's just kind of a fun little story beat with the two of them. So everybody's kind of like branching off in this episode. So we're getting like a fun little mix up of characters I liked with this episode. So nothing really moving the needle forward in any kind of huge way. I think Jen and Dawson kind of come back together and saying things seem fine, but Jen is feeling some type of way, but not saying it, that she had that reluctance that evening. And she kind of cuddles up to Dawson and doesn't really say that, like, she was thinking other things. So,
it's not contention in the argumentative state, in the sort of sad state. It's just Jen being unsure as to why she didn't just come out and tell this musician guy about Dawson, because they seem perfectly happy together. As I've said, we saw in the last couple of episodes Jen being so unbelievably happy with Dawson that was actually spoiling the quality of the radio, because she was all
too happy
and
too giddy and giving too much lovey-dovey mushy-gushy advice. So each week it seems like we need to like throw a wrench in this relationship kind of thing. We can't have it easy.
So what's going on?
We have to pop their nice little honeymoon bubble every episode. So it's odd. I've forgotten it was like this with this relationship.
I don't want it to be like this with this relationship. I would like now all relationships that we are currently in
to just settle where they are, just stay.
I understand we've got a full season of television left, but you can find interesting enough things to do. Sure, you can find interesting enough things to do. But we do just need to just calm down.
Yes. I mean, we are past the halfway point. About 7 episodes left. So we're almost there.
Very much past them 2/3 of the way now, aren't we, really? This is where we're at in season 5 of Dawson's Creek. I just don't want season 6 to be... I'm starting to think ahead to season 6, I suppose, now at the moment. I don't want that to be more of the same relationship back and forth. I need something else from season 6. I need a sort of finality. I need a finality to season 6, but I need a different type of story to happen in season 6. It's why, as horrible as it was, as sad as it was, I really quite liked the seriousness of Mitch's death earlier in this season, because it gave the show something significantly different to be dramatic about and to be thoughtful about, rather than just who loves who today. And I mean, who loves who today is good up to a point. I don't need that anymore. Dawson's. We've grown, we've matured too much.
We've grown beyond that.
We cannot possibly be having another major breakup and get somebody else. I can't have another relationship shake-up. I can't. I won't be able to deal with it. I will just be questioning everything. And I understand with your laughing, that's what's going to happen now, isn't it?
No, I'm just like... Do you know what show you're watching? The soapy teen show.
I do know what show I'm watching, and this is the.
I know, but they've shown you. They've shown you more. They've shown you more. So why not continue to be more? Is I feel like where you're at. You know, you're capable of more. I've seen you be more. I've seen you do interesting. So keep it up. Yes, I get.
And they've had too many relationship shakeups already.
Yeah.
So to have another one would be going back to something you've actually already done, and then we're just repeating ourselves entirely at that point. We're not even just repeating story points. We're repeating arcs at that point.
Yes. And we talked about this last week, where we felt like the characters are settled in interesting ways, only for the show to feel like it's fabricating conflict now.
Yeah.
So yes, if it can feel organic. Yes, if it can feel organic, then okay, but it feels like fabricated for drama's sake. So I don't quite remember, but I do remember certain things, and I'm just like, I don't know if you're gonna get what you want, but
well, I don't. Yeah, I don't know, but at that point, I understand Dawson's Creek was obviously very successful, and I understand there's a full season of television to come. But as with everything in every walk of life, you must quit while you're ahead.
Yes, so and and with these 2 episodes, I'm starting to realize why I maybe don't remember these last 2 seasons as much as I do those first 4. Because those first 4 were really strong, and these are not to say they're not good, but there's a lot here that feels like we're just kind of forcing stuff and being a really abrupt when we do kind of take an interesting avenue and things like that. So, yeah.
And while I've continued to like the change of feeling of the show since moving to college from Cape Side, it almost now even more so would make sense for it to actually be a different show, a proper, true spin-off of a show where you had Dawson's Creek as the 4 seasons that it was. And you then literally had Dawson's Creek of the college years as 2 seasons of what it is. And
oh my gosh.
I just think that actual genuine production separation would help my mind to differentiate the 2 and to go, okay, I'm not beholden to anything that happened in Dawson's Creek now because this is a new show. And I'm sort of in the middle of, and I think it is in the middle of wanting to be a different type of show while still being Dawson's Creek. And it's like, we don't quite know where we are. We're going to keep going. We have to keep going. It's successful. Everybody's watching Dawson's Creek. It's one of the most popular teen shows of the time. It's very, very good for us. So we have to keep making it. And, I don't want it to overstay its welcome. It hasn't overstayed its welcome at the moment. And I don't think it will overstay its welcome for the rest of season 5.
It won't. It won't.
There's not enough left to go. I'm expecting a finale arc, to be honest. I mean, to a degree. I don't know what that may be. But season 6, I mean, season 6 is going to be dependent on how season 5 finishes, of course. But
Yeah.
I don't then want season 6 to be regurgitating the same sort of thing. I don't mind it being boldly different if it has build up to being boldly different. I don't want it to be abruptly boldly different, like Downtown Crossing was, that just made little sense, even though it was quite good.
Yeah.
Just finish well, Dawson's Creek, please. You deserve to, and I want you to.
Okay.
So, I'm not quite sure. I'm like Jen at the moment. I'm a bit wishy-washy as to say
how you're feeling about it after these two.
how I'm feeling.
All right. Interesting.
Am I happy settling in with my relationship with Dawson, or do I now want something fresh? And do I want to move on from watching Dawson's Creek? No, I'm always enjoying Dawson's Creek, but am I just? Where's the future? What does the future hold? Dawson's Creek.
Okay.
This is where my mind is.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Well,
there we go. I think for today's episode of Discovering Dawson's Creek, Jeannine, I do hope what I say does not give you pause.
No, I definitely
get.
I get where your head's at for sure. So no worries.
Okay. Well, this is not the only show we have on the It's Wonderful podcast feed, of course, nor is it even the only TV-based show we have here on a Monday, because it alternates every week with diving into Doctor Who. You can find this, of course, on the It's Wonderful podcast YouTube channel in full video watch format. Do subscribe and ding your notification bell if you are watching today's episode. If you are simply listening to today's show on the It's Wonderful podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts on all major platforms, do subscribe wherever you are. Leave your comments on Spotify, rate, review, like and share everywhere else. Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, all the other big podcast platforms as well. And if you would like to support us on Patreon or donate in any way, you can find links to do that in the description of today's episode. And of course, find us on and across the social medias on the app formerly known as Twitter at The Purple Dawn. Oh, no, that's me, isn't it? You can find the show on the app formerly known as Twitter and on Blue Sky at It's a Wonderful One. Obviously, you can find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at The Purple Dawn with a 3 instead of the E in the because, Jeannine.
3 is a magic number.
On Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at The Purple Dawn. I just wanted to reiterate all that, I suppose, in my own head. Then I got a bit confused, didn't I? Jeannine, all your, I suppose, mugging is where you don't go around people.
No, I would hope not. You can find me Jeannine _on Twitter, Jeannine on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And if you want to get any merch for any of our shows, just check the description for the link or search G9 Design on tpublic.com.
Well, there we go. That does, of course, leave only one thing left to do. So please, in your finest impression of anybody you want to from Dawson's Creek, which I don't know if we really do impressions on the sign-off song.
No.
It doesn't really make much
nobody's
sense.
Very distinct.
No. See us out.
3, 2, 1.
Well, no, no prizes. That was bye.
Bye.